Greetings once more, dear friends. Dragon here, and today a very quick review of Mad Cats, released today in the UK by Third Window Films and also available digitally for streaming, so you'll probably find it on Amazon Prime as well. Not going to take a huge amount of time to speak about the movie other than to say I absolutely adored it, but there's a few things that I think it's probably beneficial to know kind of going into it that will kind of help you either decide if it's for you or not. One, that it's a micro low budget film, written and directed by Reiki Tsuno, and filmed over the course of about a year and a half. So he would basically film for a week or two, run out of budget, go back into making usually commercials, I think he says in the interview on the disc, and build up enough money to kind of keep on filming, go back, film another chunk, and so on until they'd kind of got enough for the whole movie. It runs for about 88 minutes long. Pretty simple story that it does admirably very little to explain. You kind of just sort of have to accept what's going on and either go with it or you'll possibly reject it if it's not for you. But basically we have a bit of a slacker character named Taka, played by Sho Mineo, who receives a mysterious cassette in the mail from his landlady. He's living in a caravan at this point, that tells him that his brother has been abducted, kidnapped, and is being held hostage by some very dangerous people. And he needs to basically try and go and get him back, and also while he's there steal a wooden box that's also in the building, and he's told that he's being held where they found that cat that time. And so he remembers back to a time when he and his brother found this very cute small black cat, and then heads off in that direction. Very quickly finds his brother. That's a mild spoiler, but normally in these sort of movies that would happen in the third act, but it's really kind of in the middle of the first act. He finds his brother, isn't able to rescue his brother straight away, but is able to get the wooden box, and is then pursued by 13 assassins who all turn out to be basically anthropomorphized cats. So cats who have human form. None of them speak. They're really just kind of there giving chase to him. So there's a sort of Terminator-esque aspect to most of the girls. They're all girls playing the cats, and a pretty great cast of characters that the director has assembled. They all have slightly different skills. So some are hired because of their abilities with nunchucks, another because she's incredibly good with like a wushu Chinese style sword, and then a variety of other ones have different sorts of guns. But they basically kind of give chase to him because they're trying to get back this wooden box. Along the way he meets another character, basically a tramp who's living homeless in the street and already eating cat food with no explanation. That character's called Takezo, played by Yuya Matsuura. And he basically ends up, by the fact that they're both being shot at the same time, they kind of join forces, and it sort of morphs into a little bit of a road trip. Along the way they meet, for me, the breakout star of the movie, Ayane, playing a character called Ayane, who basically is one of the few cat characters that can speak. You learn pretty quickly that she is the little black cat that he and his brother found a long time ago in human form, but she's an incredibly skilled fighter, really good at martial arts, really good at gunplay, and basically acts as their sort of protector, and kind of guide throughout, kind of really trying to kind of get his brother back, so they kind of have to return to the place that he was at the beginning, evading the various cat assassins, dealing with some of them along the way. Very tricky to kill them because obviously cats have 9 lives. But along the way we get some great comedy, quite slapsticky in places between our two male leads. A lot of great action courtesy of the wonderful Ayane. Incredibly well shot for how little money they had. The cinematographer, I believe, is Shintaro Teramoto. Apologies if my Scottish accent is not doing a good job with the Japanese names, but cinematography is incredible, as is the score, which has kind of got shades of Danny Elfman to it in the kind of, certainly in the opening titles. Great animated opening title sequence as well. Music is by Yuki Hotta. And they also intermittently use a couple of songs by the American band Birthday Girl, including an absolute belter of a song called Man Up, right at the very end, over the end kind of closing credits. So it flies by really quickly for its 88 minutes. A whole lot of fun to be had. Never once takes the time or bothers to explain why the cats have taken on human form, how this has come about. We do find out what's in the wooden box. I'm going to leave that for you. I don't want to spoil everything in the movie, but it makes perfect sense when you find out what is inside the box. And really that's about the only thing that it kind of explains a little bit of the mythology of. Other than that, it's basically a bit of a kind of like accept it or fuck you, which I like. I kind of dig the fact that they're really not taking any pains to kind of explain the world. It's just unashamedly a fantasy action comedy with some pretty great choreography, really great choreography actually for such a low budget film and for a director's first film. And I think this is Reiki Tsuno's first film. He explains in the special features, which on the disc are really good. I'd say worth getting the Blu-ray for over just watching the movie digitally, because I enjoyed the extras on this just as much as I did the film. It was a 30-minute interview, which Adam, I suspect Adam from Third Window, looks like he sat down and filmed with the director, where he kind of explains how he kind of came to the process and what his background was, how he kind of got into movies, how really very, very young he was when he was shown John Carpenter's The Thing, which got a lot of sense. Seems to have been very heavily into John Carpenter, and then spent a bit of time studying in Ireland and studying in New York. I did an internship at Kaufman Studios, the legendary Kaufman Studios, and then kind of came back to Japan and started kind of working on commercials and short films, music videos, and then was able to get this off the ground. So I think it's his boss really at one of the commercial companies that he worked for that acts as his producer and also kind of helped him partially to fundraise, but most of it sounds like most of the cash came out of his own pocket. So I really think it is micro budget, and for that, really admirable seeing what they've put together, because it's a great, really fun little movie. And for me, I think the one to watch is Ayane, who plays our one cat that does talk. And the director explains that her part kept getting bumped up in size once they realised how capable she was, not just in terms of the action, but also in terms of the acting, because she's really, really good. She's got a great screen presence. She interacts with her two male leads really well. You kind of feel like she's as much of a seasoned actor as they are, and kind of particularly the guy who's playing the tramp character. He's a pretty big actor, appears in really pretty large Japanese movies. So yeah, great 30-minute interview, and then we get director's commentary, a couple of trailers on there as well, and there's a rehearsal versus on-screen fight comparison, which is pretty cool too. You see them kind of working at the blocking. I think the fight choreographer basically worked for virtually nothing and just kind of did it because, like most people who come into the project, because they thought it sounded like a pretty cool, fun project to be a part of. And the director unashamedly says he begged because it's his first film and asked people to help. So in most cases, most departments just had really one person doing most of the duties. There's just one person, Yuki Hota, doing the music. I think he had one person doing all the visual effects, which there's not a huge amount, but in places you see it. There's certain points where they've probably had to do most of the driving sequences with a blue screen, and you kind of do see that a little bit, but it kind of adds to the charm, I think. It's just very unashamedly a low budget movie, and I'm all in for those sorts of things, particularly when they're as damn good fun as this is. So yeah, I highly recommend that you pick up a copy of Mad Cats. Do please, if you're in the UK or even if you're in the US, consider picking it up from Terracotta, because they give the most amount of kickback to Third Window, which lets Third Window put more funds into bringing us more incredible gems like Mad Cats. I've been the Fanatical Dragon. Thank you so much for watching this and joining me. Let me know if you've already seen the movie, and let me know in the comments below what you think of it, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.